Hey guys, welcome back to the Prime Dude Podcast. Your host, Rob Edwards, where I actually wear the stuff and I walk the walk. Today, everything is about getting ready for the fall. I'm also going to add some shoe care and talk about how my St. John's double monk straps from Allen Edmonds got beat up pretty good at a wedding. Also, those suede loafers behind you from Taboot, New York. Going to go over some shoe care for those. And in caring for the leather shoes back there, the Allen Edmonds, I want to talk about a product that could be a good alternative to the Saphir Renovateur I shared last week. I shared some feedback in my own personal experience and things that I've read that indicate we should probably not be using Renovateur every time we perform shoe care. It's just not necessary. It's to really get a deep clean and a condition to get all of those all that old product buildup out, like the wax polish over time. You don't need that every time you take care of your shoes. So I've got the Saphir Nappa here today, which is the most gentle I could find from Saphir. Going to perform some basic shoe care on those St. John's that really got stepped on. I noticed them. I wanted to take care of them when I got back, but I saved it for the show. Going to do some suede care because there's something on my suede shoes also from the wedding weekend. Then into the fall fashion. You can see some shirts here and more pants, more warm pants that you need, like I talked about last week, from Proper Cloth and Bonobos. I'm going to pronunciation right. I tend to just say Bonobos. Bonobos. We talked about chinos, brushed cotton moleskin. Now we're going to get into some heavier wool and corduroy. So we're going to get into that and how to style those, talk about what you can wear with those. So here we go. Let's get into it right now. It's going to be a great show. All right, first, let's turn to shoe care. I'm going to get the most beat up shoe. I'm going to overlay some pictures, but you can see it pretty good there. You can see they are totally scuffed, either spilled on or stepped on the toe. There's water or gosh knows what liquid spots there from what alcohol was consumed. I didn't drink that much, but some people did. Boy, some people really did. So we're going to get into caring for these, and it's going to be a chance for me to try out this Nappa cream, which is essentially, it's jojoba oil. That's really the main product. It's mostly for your softer leathers, and it's really not a conditioner. It's more, I think, just your most gentle type of shoe care. Of course, I need my brush, and we're going to do initial brushing here, always before you do any shoe care. And so these are the St. John's double monk straps in Dark Chili, which is a great year-round brown shoe. I don't tend to wear these with really formal suits, but I did wear a suit to the wedding, of course, and it was a real fun linen, cotton, and wool. Actually, it's a cotton and wool blend from Proper Cloth, a lighter kind of slate blue pinstripe. This worked really well because the chili color, the Allen Edmonds chili colors, act as an alternative, I think, to what you'd say is a dark brown. So we brush the product. Now I'm going to add just a tiny bit of the Nappa. And again, this is just an oil-based cream. It's going to be the most gentle, so I'm curious. I've never used this. I've always just used the basic, a little bit on the lid here for me, basic shoe cream kind of polish from Henric as my alternative. You know, I told you last week they provide that with just about every pair of shoes I bought from Henric, so that's a really nice touch. You're supposed to let the Saphir products sit for about 5 minutes. Let's put that down for a second, and then we're going to get into the suede. Now, what you can see here, maybe you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Right there, something really solid spilled on the toe of the suede. And suede can be very interesting. You need a dedicated suede brush, a brush that is horsehair. This one is also from Saphir. I'll give an endorsement to the Elegant Oxford, a great shoe care and just shoe expert channel here on YouTube. And the Elegant Oxford sells some sometimes hard to acquire Saphir products on their website. So I'm going to give this a light brush over the entire surface of the shoe. I go in one direction. I feel like that's the best thing to do. And I actually just got a little of that Nappa on there, and that'll come out, no problem. I'm glad I'm not using Renovateur. It's a little harsh, a little oilier. But again, the Nappa has no solvent, so no trace of turpentine, nothing in that that's going to pull product off of the St. John's double monk straps that are marinating back there. But that's not what I want right now. I just want something to condition and see it helps me brush out the spots in that streak, that sort of scuff on the toe. Now what I anticipate, I'm using a yak hair brush. This brush, I love saying yak, it's much softer. I mean, it's really soft. And so you could actually use it, if I didn't have it, polished product in there, or I have used it on shoes, I would use it on this too. It could be used as a suede brush. But this horsehair is doing a nice job. But as you can see here, it helps sort of subdue the toe, but that product's there. It's going to need a cleaning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Saphir Nubuck and Suede cleaner. I haven't used it on the show yet, but it's not terribly strong, but I also like to mix it in with some water before I apply. So what I'll do is take one of my makeup removers here, and I'm going to take a little bit. I got my spray bottle here. Now I love this mister because it's not going to put too much moisture, but I'm going to specifically spray very lightly where that mark was. You can see there's a little moisture there. I'm going to rub it in and then get my brush back. I'm just going to brush a little bit there. Water's not the end of the world. I think when you have heavier rain and spots is when it can be a little more difficult with suede. The best thing you can do is dab it when it's spotted. But I'm going to get this here, and then now I'm going to take this, right? Get that out of the way. And I'm going to take this cleaner and just very carefully, I'm going to fold it once, enough to still cover the opening, right? And a quick dip, just like that. So now I've got the product on the end here. I'm going to pinch it one more time, and I'm going to take that area where that spot was, which is already kind of fading a little bit. I'm just going to rub it there a little bit. And I can feel it. It's already out. It was very kind of crusty there before. It's already out. Now I take my fingers, right, smooth. I'm going to brush it there. And it's gone. I can tell it came right out. And what this should do is still maintain the soft, supple nature of the suede. And we'll let that sit and dry right down there, and we'll take a look towards the end. And now we'll come back to brushing this. So you can see it's a pretty gnarly, I get it in the light there for you, and I got a picture, still pretty gnarly streak across. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the yak hair brush, but I might switch to horsehair. Get this brushing off now. I can tell it's already helping. All the way across the surface. Make sure I get the other side. All right, now what I'm seeing is I'm still seeing pretty good amount there. You get a nice glisten, so it's a gentle product. I still don't want to use Saphir. What I'm going to do is switch to the horsehair brush and maybe add shoe cream polish in this a similar color. I'll probably use a medium brown, or actually might use the actual Allen Edmonds Dark Chili. And we're going to give it once over with the horse brush, because you can see here, I'm doing this live, it is still, let me get in a better light here, it is still showing that streak across the front, and I can still see spots. I think that's partially the yak hair is too soft. We're going to switch here, go to the horsehair brush, and maybe try another product. Horsehair brush. The bristles are tougher, and I'm going to give it another once over here, and it is helping. That streak is definitely faded. The Nappa now gives it a nice, I can tell it's conditioned, and a slightly, those surface spots still exist if you can see them on the vamp. So what I'm going to do is now take on a little more product, shoe care polish from Allen Edmonds, just to see that with the horsehair brush and see what it does to these spots, and if we can finally get out that streak, and I'll show you an after picture. So again, avoiding Renovateur, started with the Nappa, gave it a nice kind of glisten, but clearly not a conditioning product. So I think now, and maybe I could have skipped the Nappa, I'll go right to shoe cream polish with the horsehair brush and see what we get. Allen Edmonds product, their version of a shoe cream polish, not too different from the Saphir. People would say it's better, but I like the color match. This is for their chili and dark chili. You can kind of see it there. It's pretty close. And I'm just going to take a light amount, just a little bit on my finger. I'm going to put it on the toe. So we're going to apply it nice and even. Now where I see spots, I'm really rubbing it in. But it's not going to be the shoe cream polish that does most of the work. It's going to be that horsehair brush with a little bit of moisture. And I'm going to let it sit. I'll cut out and come back to you guys in 5 minutes. We'll move on from this shoe care because this is going to do the trick, I can tell. Close that out. Then I'll move on to, we'll take a look at our suede shoe. Then we'll move on to the fall outfits, the pants I want to share with you, and these shirts behind how to pair with these warm alternatives to business casual and business that you're going to need when things get cold. Let the shoe cream polish from Allen Edmonds set. Now we're going to brush. Yeah. Horsehair is the way to go. Spots are coming out. You can see here. Now you're getting a little more of a sheen or some shine to it after the Nappa with shoe cream polish. And I do have the matching wax Carnauba wax-based polish from Allen Edmonds for chili. That's what I use for their chili color. It's a unique color. You can get Axe. This dark chili can act as a medium to dark brown. And now I can see a little bit left of this, what I think is a scrape, someone's shoe moving along, very tiny bit. So what you do in that case is what I'm going to do is apply one more after the show layer of the shoe cream polish, and then I'll go to the wax, right? And what I'll do is I'll do all that at the end of the show. I'll take a video of the finished product and you'll see how good it looks. But what's nice, I can tell with the Nappa, I think moisturizing it, kind of re-moisturizing the spots on the vamp. They were surface spots, they weren't dark. And that streak, the shoe cream polish is now coming in and adding some color, really to color and condition over the damage. It's surface damage. And then the horsehair brush is really getting in there with the moisture. So one more application of that plus the wax, I'm good to go. And then we'll see if this alternative method to having to use Renovateur is going to work. Next time, and I don't want to contradict myself, this probably would have been a good Renovateur use. I've only used it once on these shoes. They're a solid color, right? Calfskin leather. These aren't patinaed or burnished, which is where the concern comes from, that little bit of turpentine in Renovateur. I would have probably been able to skip a step, not even needed the wax, done Renovateur, a light amount in the problem areas if I wanted to just stick to that, then done a shoe cream polish if I wanted to in this color, and probably could have gotten here. So you don't have to. I think over time you want to mix in something like the Nappa or the Saphir Natural 1925, which is the next level up, has a little bit of a conditioning factor. But again, I wanted to close this out because I was so impressed with how that wax finished the job. Okay, our suede shoe, still a little moisture left where I treated it, but it's coming out nicely. There's absolutely nothing there. So the water didn't quite cut it with the brush. Added that Saphir cleaner that's specifically formulated for suede and Nubuck. I'll link it down below. It's available on Amazon. And you can see how nice and gentle it is. When that dries out, there's going to be nothing. It'll look pretty much like the other side. And suede over time does pretty well with this. You don't want to spill too much on it, too much treatment. It can kind of start looking a little rugged as opposed to that nice smooth sheen and feel texture you want with your traditional suede. Pants, continuing from last week. Thanks for your participation in the shoe care portion. Now we're going to talk about corduroy. This is from a company called John Henric, H-N-R-I-C. They're out of Sweden, if I remember correctly, and they ship to the United States. I'm sure they ship all over Europe and a number of countries globally. They really make a nice product. Sizes are European, so I'm typically in the US a 33, right, waist and length. I'm a 52 in the European size. It's perfect. These corduroys are fantastic. They come with belt loops. They're brand new, as you can see. I just got them. So it's my first pair of brown cords in a long time. Very excited to style these, and I'll give you guys an update on the channel. But brown is such a versatile color to begin with. I've really leaned into brown slacks and suits over recent years, and they're year-round depending on how dark or light. So taupe, which actually these, if you can believe it, these are actually a shade of brown. These are taupe loafers, right? Suede loafers from To Boot, New York. So that is a brown. That's a summer shade. It's really year-round if you want it to be. But then when you get into the darker browns, it's more fall and winter. And of course, season and temperature relates more to fabric and texture than it does color. So for right now, you're only going to wear, I mean, for right now, forever, you're only wearing corduroy in the fall and winter when things get cold. And it's not so much because it's September. I'm obviously switching to a more fall color in my shirt. This is a forest, I believe, forest olive green long sleeve polo from Mizzen in Maine, one of my favorite comfort shirt companies. The purists who think only wool or only cotton won't like it, even though these shirts are the greatest travel shirts. You got to travel with a blazer, you want one of their button-ups, or this. It's fantastic. They're so comfortable, and it's a great color for the fall. So I grabbed this, and then it would go fantastic with this. This is very business casual. This is not a button-up shirt, or button down as some say. Some say button down for the collar, but you know what I mean, a dress shirt. This is more casual, but this brown can go with your dark blues. It's going to go with, I got an example here. This one's from Leadberry. You can see there's brown, if you can, in with a blue stripe, right? Almost a small, tiny check square pattern, a beautiful shirt. And then you can see this blue, this merino wool from Proper Cloth. Yes, a merino wool shirt. I'll link the show down. I did a review of these. They're fantastic. Both of these, this one's pure twill cotton. This one's merino wool. It's a texture match for corduroy. So this is a nice dressier shirt. You can put on a nice tie. I'm going to show you a couple. Texture and fabric matter, so I wouldn't put a silk tie on with this, and I'll show you what I mean. But you got a nice versatile shirt, a little bit of brown. You don't have to, but that helps, right? Match up that subtle brown stripe to the brown corduroys. And then, of course, a darker, not light, but I wouldn't say dark blue, but nice in-between blue is going to match up great, as you can see here with the corduroys, a nice belt, and off you go for your snappy business casual. Before I show you some tie examples that I picked up, and I'll link below, it's very kind of like the Bow and Tie Company. I found them online. The prices were incredible. I want to switch to a different fabric for your winter and fall pant collection. This is a company I discovered recently called Luxire. Now, of course, I don't order from the company. I want to know what fabrics, where they get their cloth. And I was really impressed because I got these flannel. So flannel pants, flannel suits are your fall and winter cold weather go-to if you're going to be exposed. I mean, regular Super 100s, worsted wool is going to be fine, but you're going to need warmer, probably layering when you go outside. This bad boy, I wish you could feel it. This is a heavy flannel. This is your cold fall and winter pant, and it's fantastic. Luxire seems to get some aftermarket fabric from some of the best houses in Europe, including Dugdale and Fox Brothers. Ask Oki talks about these all the time. He uses them, and so many of the most reputable suit and coat and pant makers in Europe use Dugdale. And this is Dugdale wool. I got this in not only this navy blue, but also the olive gray. The price was a little over $100. They'll actually do the cuffs for you if you want, and you just can't return them if you do those customizations. But I can have alterations. I nailed my size. They were true to size. And I went with side tab fasteners, which is a great travel option. We haven't talked about this, but I don't have to remember a belt. So I've really leaned into that. Almost always now travel with a pair. I haven't forgotten a belt yet, knock on wood, but it can happen. You don't need to worry about it. Sometimes I'm thinking of a belt when I go to pack these. I go, wait, I don't need to worry about matching my belt to my shoes because I have the side tab fasteners. So I picked these up from Luxire, Luxire. I'll link them down below. They come pretty quick. I think people know about this company. Just because I discovered it doesn't mean you do. So if you have, tell me about your experience. They have really good clothing options. They seem to source fabrics from these famous houses at a really fantastic price. So flannel, and then what I showed you already, corduroy. On top of the cotton options I showed you last week, and corduroy is cotton. Just again, texture, right? What is the feel? Does it match up? You wouldn't put the lightweight Egyptian cotton, almost see-through cotton shirts with this. It wouldn't match up, nor would it match up or just feel right with something as warm as these Dugdale heavy flannel wool pants, and of course the corduroy. So, and then shoes. This is a great option. So I had them out already. Our shoe care participant today, the St. John's double Monkstrap, a nice, semi-brogue Monkstrap is going to go well. A derby in a brown with both of these would be fantastic. I'm not sure if I go with, of course, you're not going to wear an Oxford of any kind with this. I wouldn't even wear maybe one that's pebble or hatch grain and is a full brogue wingtip, maybe. but I'm sticking to a derby style open lacing or Monkstrap with this. And then the same with this. I think these would go great with the Skolix loafers I have, which are a hatch grain. I think, waxy pull-up suede or a nice, hardy calfskin loafer is going to look great with these pants and an odd jacket. Odd jacket looks great with corduroy. Now you're getting into that nice business casual, and you're deciding whether you want to add a tie. So the shoes, sticking with a derby, a casual, more like casualized brogue Monkstrap like I showed you. Loafers are going to be great with most of these, as long as they have a little robustness to them. But a derby shoe, you can't go wrong. A good Monkstrap, as long as it's not super dressy like my Yearn Shoemaker ones, are going to look fantastic in the fall and winter with something dressed down to this business casual. Let's move to a couple tie options to pull this together, and then I'll overlap some video of some jackets I have texture-wise that'll work really well. Again, they're all wool. I mean, I get around to that. If I don't, they're all wool. You don't wear linen cotton blends with these. A heavier cotton jacket you could. Let's take a look at the ties first. So I grabbed 2 tie options. I ordered these recently. I've always had silk blend or cotton or linen blend ties, and I didn't have wool. So this is you can see the texture, right? Chunky. That's Oki's word. It's a heavy texture, warmer feel with a wool tie. And this is what you'd want to pair with your corduroys, your dress shirts, or your heavy Dugdale like that flannel wool, your cotton, like brushed cotton, right? Heavier texture pants. Wool is a great match. You don't want to wear a shiny silk tie, even though the color might be right, a basic navy tie. I do believe, and I've written an article about a company where I got some fantastic woven, and I'm drawing a blank, gabardine wool ties, right? Texture, feel, that breakup of the smooth sheen. You don't want that. You don't want that silky look with the ruggedness of corduroy or heavy wool. You want something like this. Also, this is in brown. So this is actually a burgundy. I forgot to mention that, burgundy with a little light brown in the dots. So you got your nice standard kind of almost polka dot, but square dots actually tie. And then you've got a brown here with navy blue and silver stripes. Extremely versatile. You could put this with that small check pattern I showed you. And of course, even this would look great with that sort of window pane check pattern of the merino wool shirt I showed you. So you throw in a wool tie, you've got a cotton blazer. You could do a corduroy blazer, just wouldn't want to do it with corduroy pants. All of these warm texture looks are going to keep you dressy enough for meetings, dressy enough for business, show that you care about your appearance, but you're also a practical person. If you show up to meetings this winter and fall in, your super 130s, light wool, breathable tropical wool, snappy suits, and you're dealing with blizzard conditions outside or rain, it's hard to maintain. Those get wet, those light wools get wet, they hold on to the moisture. It looks funny, especially if your colors are bright when you're dealing in cold temperatures. So when the temperature changes is really when you start switching to different fabrics and feels, like brushed cotton, like corduroy, like your flannel wools. Okay, to close it out, we've done shoe care. We've gone through some more fall options for your clothing. The suede is looking pretty sweet. So I've got that spotted. It's almost completely dry. It takes time. I'll give it some more brushing with the brush, and they're going to look just like new. I'll put some overlap now of the before and after of the St. John's double Monkstraps that we did some shoe care. I'll be honest with you guys, what I'll do with the Nappa is use it on a more patina burnish model next time, but I was excited to try it because those shoes got beat up at the wedding, like I said. I think for that solid color, something that like is a chili, mahogany, brown, or black, you could use Saphir Renovateur a little more than your usual rotation if you've got deep conditioning you need there. As I was doing it, I felt like, wow, I kind of want that light sort of pull out pine-based turpentine option to get that scuff or streak, that sort of, that stepped on mark that I had. We got there anyway. So if you have a similar situation on a heavy patina shoe that's really artistic, like some of these shoemakers recommend, use the Nappa, start off with that horsehair brush, letting that moisture and conditioning, the jojoba oil, help you get that mark out, and then follow with wax. Maybe it takes a couple applications and you're going to get there just like you saw But just want to share that thought with you because I had it live with you during the podcast, and I'm not going to go back, edit and change and start over. It's not what this show's about. The suede's good. I think you guys hopefully learned a lot. Share your comments. Let me know down below what you think. I'll link the ties. It's like the Bow and Tie Company. I'll link everything I featured in the show down below so you can access it. Ask me questions again. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. I love talking about these things. I really have enjoyed the comments and feedback. And as always, stay prime.